I need to talk to her because some boy been up in here and him and her having an affair.
Hello and welcome to Lawd Lukan. It's time to slip your ankles in the stirrups and yell for your mama because we're back and multiplying with Love After Lockup. We see if Karen is okay after all that excitement last week.
Go check on her and stop worrying about asking me, am I okay?
We see there's a fine line between hope and despair. Random woman is checking the groceries for contraband.
There's no crack.
Meh, and Bianca's in it too.
Well, we got that out of the way.
Good day, good morrow, and be thou hail. Welcome to the channel. Big fat loves to the beautiful people who have subscribed, and a Susan Rosen diamond bikini for the lords and ladies of the Lukan Manor. The theme of this week is belief. Sometimes it's about having the belief in something that the people around you are telling you doesn't exist. Sometimes it's about having faith that there's something worth waiting for. And sometimes it's about a willing suspension of your disbelief. First to check out your willy suspension is a Shonta and True. Well, someone had to make that joke at some point. Anyway, the newest daddy-to-be, True, is off to see a Shonta, and it seems like they've made up.
We could have a little cook-off. She love to cook. We're supposed to be doing that.
Oh no, I've spotted a fatal flaw in the plan. See? He's wearing white to a cooking date. There'll be stains before bedtime. But don't you worry, laundry fans. These are clearly ghetto chef whites. Because True did a culinary arts course in prison.
I took culinary arts while I was in prison. My chef name was Chef Extra.
Chef Extra! You know, that's a phrase that doesn't translate well across the puddle. Over in England land, if someone is being a bit extra, it means they're being a bit, well, you know.
Talk about buttered sausage, where it comes from, what it does.
Sort of Busey special. So in England land, if someone told you Chef Extra was on the way to butcher an omelette, you'd kind of expect... Maybe, you know, that was the point they were making. I don't know. Anyway, cut to flashback of Chef Extra getting all Ramsay on your bottom. It seems our True is having some feelings of romantic remorse, as he regrets not doing more than impregnate a Shonta. Before his release, they had dreams of starting their own food-based business together. But after all this baby and not wanting him involved, she might not want him sharing her African fufu anymore.
But unfortunately, I didn't even get to even cook with it, though.
Yeah, but you did find time to bash the bats out of her belfry. You remember that? Yeah, he remembers that.
I've seen some things, man, and some stuff. I wouldn't recommend it.
So, let's go join Chef Extra as he prepares the finest ingredients for tonight's soiree with a Shonta, sorry. I got a bit messed up between the boobs and the babies. A problem I think True might be familiar with.
I'm finna get some steak, some eggs, you know, ingredients to make an omelet.
Eggs, yes, good start. Now, I guess why not make steak omelette? Can't be the worst menu item this side of case cooking. I mean, you can't really go wrong. An omelette is literally just an egg, preferably cooked in butter and threatened with some seasoning. But I do believe the great American omelette has cheese in it. And anyway, who am I to question the great Chef Extra? Well, let's go now and join him in the shop. And the first thing he needs is eggs, you know, because he's already gone and fertilized all of the Shontas. Next is cheese, and in prison, True only had access to 3 types of cheese.
Jalapeno, mozzarella, and a sharp cheese.
I think the sharp cheese is probably a sign somebody's trying to unalive you, but that's a posh jail he must have been to have 3 types of cheese. Most just have that plastic cheese you get in slices, but that's not good enough for Chef Amazing. No, he's on the good stuff.
I think this will do.
He's bought like a gram of cheese. What's he expecting to do with that?
Stop.
Hammer time.
And we all know, when buying cheese in a bag, you're gonna be dipping into that while you're cooking. Maybe slap a cheeky bit of red onion on it. So, what's True been up to for the last 14 weeks?
I've been making money by going to the casino. hustling and gambling.
Yeah, and by the look of his face, he's recalling a wonderful memory. Hang on a second. As I'm sure you know, my beautifully well-informed viewer, we can glean more than he says by watching his face. Let's take the words hustling and gambling. Well, the thing they have in common is the raised eyebrows, in the I'm totally being honest with you position, and in both cases we can read a certain amount by the way he's looking. This left-hand gaze at ear level suggests he's using his auditory mind to construct sound, i.e., does it sound right? Does my lie sound believable, perhaps? I think it's generally a true statement he was making about the hustling, but hustling could be anything. OG Cam, for example, thought hustling meant answering customer service calls. So I think he was just constructing the sound of him telling people he's hustling, when he clearly feels like he's not being entirely genuine. But gambling is a bit more interesting. Those shoulders dropped. Telling us about the disappointment, he avoids eye contact with the camera, which for somebody who is very comfortable with being seen, is always suspicious. And then the face. The eyes fixed forward at ear level suggest he's remembering someone's face and recalling sound. I have a theory on this. I think he's recalling a man in prison giving him gambling advice, which works on paper, but then he's gone outside and realised the system doesn't work. Why do I think this? Well, in prison, talk of gambling systems is pretty common, particularly for those who possess, or think they possess, a minimum of a double-digit IQ. There are various tips that people will tell you, or more importantly, sell you. There's the Blair system, the James Bond, the Fibonacci, but the most common is called the martingale system. Okay then, what's a bloody martingale system, I hear you sigh? Well, it's a combination of bet hedging and doubling down on your losses. I won't bore you with the details, but here are some pretty pictures you can pause on if you're interested. Anyway, my theory is that someone told True that he can make big banker-roonies with a delightful system. Hence the body language, hence the disappointment. But that's just the theory. What would I know? Well, I can tell you I knew a lot more about this subject after talking to a big bald librarian called Steve, whilst having a delightful vacation. Still not sure I'm right about it? Well, here's this cut later on.
I'm gonna try everything I need to do. Whatever it takes to prove that I want to be there, be with her.
See that? That's supposed to be the same dialogue, but they had a cutaway to other stuff in the middle. But that first part,
I'm gonna try everything I need to do.
I don't think came from something he said about Shonta. That came from where he was talking about the money he makes. One way we know, because the hair position changes on his chest, and the wrinkles. But which part did have the wrinkles and hair in that position? This one did.
Hustling and gambling.
See? So I think that sentence actually went like this.
Hustling and gambling. I'm gonna try everything I need to do.
Interesting. Did they use a clip of him being unusually genuine to make a different point?
What's up, bro?
What's up, Joe?
Also on my stupid list for this part is this edit.
It's cold out, you know what I mean?
True.
That's either the fastest hand to nose recorded on TV, or she just took too damn long and they had to speed her up a bit. Can you believe it? A reality TV show re-editing footage because they filmed it all at once and have to make it kind of fit into some kind of plot? Well, you know, plot is a bit generous, isn't it? Speaking of which, the next bit just irritates me.
It's cold out, you know what I mean?
True.
Now they're pretending like it isn't totally arranged. It's so stupid when we've already established earlier that they were planning to get together and cook. So why are we getting this act? Plus you can see that wig of hers through the screen door. Lovely wig. She's even got a little pearl necklace or something. If only True had given her a pearl necklace, he wouldn't be in this situation. Off now to Amy and Troy. And it's a sad day because we don't get any of Henry to mess around with. So in lieu of that, my little pumpkin, here's a bit of church fun. And today, the dynamic duo are off the buffalo. But Amy doesn't want to have her low buffed because...
Nobody likes me?
Sorry about that. Didn't know you were in here. God. Those holders aren't doing much for her boulders. Allow me to give you a patented bunk bed for your boobies. The Booby Bunk. It's the Alcatraz of bras. There'll be no escape for your girlies.
Nobody really gives a hell how I feel.
Squishy, by the looks of it. But Amy's not happy because Troy answered the phone to his baby mama. And therefore, she goes for the everything is broken, get out of my life approach. Just like she did last time.
Leave me alone, pack your and get out.
Perfectly balanced behaviour. Now it's time for Breaker Bandits on Your Tail at 6. It's over to Despair and Arthur. I think someone should tell her that her bitch is showing. Ugh, she's so venomous. I can't stand her.
Like, let your sister see me, like...
I don't think now would be like a good time to just do that.
That Arthur seems like a pretty genuine and mostly damaged kind of guy. I found her quite likeable, a little bit serious. Whereas she's got a vacuous personality and looks like David from Little Britain. Or, Vicky Pollard from Little Britain. But mostly David.
For her to literally be like, shush, that's like some little kid. You feel what I'm saying? I'm a grown-ass man, bro. You feel what I'm saying? Like, that don't make sense.
So let's leave them here to boil in stifling passive aggression and see what Bianca and Daniel are up to. Well, aside from this plant being dangerously close to being the most exciting thing to happen in her segment, we have to put up with some of the worst dialogue ever conceived. I know the dialogue is whatever this collection of genius come up with, but it's not even delivered convincingly. It's like when someone in their 60s tries to write convincing teen dialogue.
Yeah, no, I just can't wait to have sex with you.
Who even says that? It's so robotic. Most couples are like, I'm gonna and grab the till the wheels fall off. Whereas Bianca is more, I'm looking forward to our sexual intercourse this evening. So unrealistic. Then his line was just as bad.
Believe me, I do know, baby.
Are these people real? I've had more convincing emails from Nigerian princes who've won the lottery. But the rest of it was so boring and I started to miss that plot from earlier. Ah, good times. Brace yourself some amazing, because we've got an appointment with Julian and Christine. It was all about spending money on lawyers for custody cases, blah blah, who cares? Although I think a fly must have got into the set. And the only other vaguely interesting thing was Julian's fleece, a freeboy from Health, which is some marketing and health company who say stuff like driving consumer and stakeholder awareness, and they use the word brandtivity. When brandtivity and healthcare meet, anything's possible. I mean, what the hell does that even mean? Stupid marketing. Anyway, Christine ends up having a tantrum because she doesn't want to get a job and contribute to the house.
It's very unrealistic to expect the same thing from someone who's just getting out of prison.
I hate that excuse. It's like saying, I don't want to spend large amounts of time doing something boring and listening to someone tell me what to do, because that's totally not like prison. Well, hey, guess what? Life can be a damn prison unless you move the walls yourself. Being institutionalized is arguably beneficial for a life in normal, characterless employment. People in offices are institutionalized and have been that way since they're in school. They must wear what's prescribed, use the language of their culture, conform to its regulations, just like people on building sites, coffee shops, retails. They're all institutionalized. Her problem is she's just lazy and thought she's bagged herself a sugar daddy. Jewish. And will now use her past against Julian's future to get what she wants. The vast majority of prisoners aren't victims, you know, but sketchy leeches like Christine will accept your pity for any price you're willing to pay. So, she can go and gurn herself off the end of that pier as far as I'm concerned. And with that, I've had enough of her. Let's go back and see how Chef Extra is getting on.
True thinks him showing up, I'm just going to give in to him and he can just come right back.
Let's just hold that thought right there, shall we?
Get anything I want. Except you.
Anyway, let's go check out what's for dinner.
This ain't no 5-star, but
Yummy. Wasn't this supposed to be steak? Did he boil it? Gotta say that looks a bit of a funny steak colour. I think his cow might have been a bit more of a pig, but yeah, you know, that's not so bad. There's some sizable chunks of pepper right there, and I think he's either cooked that garnish or beaten it into submission. Oh look, random bit of onion. So anyway, she's totally not gonna fall for his mischievous boyish charm.
You said this one of your best dishes.
Yeah, it'll be fine. Now back to Disdain and Arthur, and I've seen a few people on the Facebook wondering what's up with him.
You're in the belly of the beast, and so they're gonna, any weaknesses is getting exploited off the rip as soon as they see it.
I'm honestly mystified at how people aren't getting it. He's a sensitive guy and he's bound to being a strong male figure. From a man's perspective, you're supposed to be tough and handle your business. He couldn't show perceived weakness in prison and he sure as hell can't do it with the film crew hanging around. In prison, a small amount of people might know you cried. On TV, about 3 million people will. So yeah, I'm sure he's dying to show you a bit of emotion for you to profit from. You know how to solve this? Talk to this guy. This is a man who simply needs to talk to someone who cares enough to listen. Do you think Nasty would show compassion and understanding if it wasn't about her? And I can totally see why he's got a doubts about her. Women like her are attracted to the rebellious naughty boy and spend half their life trying to get them to show emotion and open up. Then when they show their vulnerability, they cease to be the man that she once saw. That the respect disappears, along with the love. Scowl is convinced that she is the victim and the martyr, and I doubt she'll give that up without a fight. Also, she's clearly selling content. The equipment in her room just makes this so obvious. He deserves a woman who gives only him her heart, mind, body, and most importantly, her attention to his needs that aren't superficial like a sewing machine or some material, which she'll hold over him in the future. He'll say, you cheated, and she'll say, yeah, but sewing machine and the tattoo you didn't quite get right. Therefore, I'm the victim, not you, mister. Even when he leaves the room to have a bit of a cry.
Excuse me, bro. Excuse me.
she gives him the old lippy biting scowly face thing. Off now to Letitia and Keith.
This house is being foreclosed on.
Oh well, back now to Bianca and Daniel, and I'm going to try not to skip my way through her segment. Right, so Bianca is making a big deal out of when the dad asked her if she was mentally stable. If you watch the clip though, he's clearly joking.
Good.
Mentally stable, are you?
They've just removed all the context and faded out his laugh at the end. So she's now faking some massive offense for no real reason, other than she feels like having something to moan about. But Daniel's parents seem pretty normal, really.
I see myself in her. Am I at that age?
Yeah, I think the dad can see himself in her too. So the dad goes ahead and tackles the elephant in the arbor.
Acquaint you with my really odd sense of humor.
Okay. Well, we got that out of the way.
Yeah, well, that's alright then. That massive problem you had 2 seconds ago and moaned about for weeks is totally fine now. Good job. One fun part of the parent meeting is the brother, Jim Bob or whatever. Let's all have some good fun watching his reaction to Bianca being asked if she drinks too much.
I really don't drink that much. Like,
Let's get a replay.
I really don't drink that much. Like,
So Bianca is now sitting there rationalizing her alcoholism to a woman who has suffered with 2 husbands and 2 kids being alcoholics and even lost a child to that F-word stuff that Montana Mills was selling. So what is Bianca's big brain 3000 IQ explanation?
I don't want to stop drinking.
Yeah. Yes, let's just soak that in for a while. The subject of a car crash comes up, and I've got a few questions. That story just makes no sense.
I didn't see her drink anything. She seemed fine until she blacked out and like hit her head on the steering wheel.
So she was at a bar or club or whatever, and never saw her friend drinking. And at no point did she feel something was amiss until the driver literally passed out on the steering wheel. How do you not notice your friend driving at 80 miles an hour on a city street, not being a little bit tipsy? And she doesn't go from sober to unconscious without some kind of indication. I imagine she had to say she had no idea, or her insurance may not pay out as much if she knowingly entered a car with a drunk driver. But that story's a load of shit, really, isn't it? She doesn't care about other people. For example, the mother is holding back tears from telling her about her deceased child, and look at the face Bianca is making.
If I lose another son, it's going to be really hard. I don't want it.
Yeah, she really has absolutely no clue, does she?
I understand addiction. I really think I do.
But I know someone who does have a clue about the right thing to do. Man, that's the dad.
Hopefully Daniel will have the wisdom to exit out of that relationship.
Testify! Back to Amy and Troy, and Troy is about to find a bit of profound amongst his thoughts.
I'm in her world, she's not in mine.
And then, my pomme de terre, Karen comes off the phone with Yona, Troy's baby mama.
I need to talk to her because some boy been up in here and him and her having an affair.
And there's a little something that I hinted at a few weeks ago. I pointed out how she flinched when Troy said she deserved credit for being amazing. Then there's a little thing that she does that might suggest there's a skeleton in the wardrobe and it hasn't moved out yet.
You deserve it, babe.
Did you see that? She was all warm and humbled by his gratitude until he said she deserved it. Then the face totally drops. Now she's a woman of conscience, a woman who possibly believes in karmic retribution. So when she looked like she couldn't accept the idea that she deserved it, I'm guessing she might be able to think of a pretty good reason why she doesn't. Interesting.
Yeah.
I said she was either being coy or deceptive. And am I right? Well, we'll have to see about that. But just before we cut to the next section, Karen doesn't want to be outdone by Amy's booby show earlier and puts on a show herself. And as we go scrambling for the eye wash, it's back to Moody and Arthur. And I'm not going to make any jokes this time. It was upsetting to watch a man shut down and break. That point where the world has crushed you so much that you're numb to the world. And the world transforms into a mess of mind games. It's that time your brain has taken all it can and has no choice but to crash.
What's going on?
Yeah, it's all a bit close to home, but my final word on this is that you, my dear viewer, are loved. And to change the subject, I read someone calling her peanut butter and jelly butt. Weirdly, I can totally see it. And then he ended up in prison again, being charged with aggravated assault with a deadly weapon, possession of a firearm by a felon, and unlawful carry of a weapon with felony conviction. The assault alone is 5 to 15 years, 2 to 10 for the unlawful carry, and the possession on average carries around 198 months or 16 years. So if they run concurrently, hopefully he'll be out in about 12 to 15 years, making him around 45 years old. Now I do say I wanted more for him, and I wish it wasn't his lot. I have a feeling that with that level of PTSD, his body may leave prison one day, but I don't think his mind and soul will go with it. And what is the only saving grace of the story? Well, we don't have to put up with this sour-faced manipulative bitch anymore. And that, my beautiful person, is the end of our episode, and nearly the end of our time together. And instead of a wholesome clip, I'm going to give you something to smile about. I'd like to introduce you to Lisa.
My name is Lisa, and this is my first drink of wine this evening.
My name is Zeruiah.
And that brings us to a close. Thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure to entertain you. Thank you so much for the comments, likes and shares. You make a silly man very happy. So until we meet again, stay beautiful, love to my three, but you take care of yourself.
Please subscribe now for our playing.